Well, we are in Mühlhausen, which is in Thuringia in the eastern part of Germany. And we're watching right now in front of us one of the East German, or called GDR, prefabricated buildings. What we see here is a reconstruction or a rebuilding. So they're removing some floors from the original 4-floor building, what we see here in front of us. Because people are getting old and nobody really wants to live in those small apartments anymore. So that's why the organization who owns, or the association who owns those buildings now, there are a couple more buildings around us here, as you see. There are 2 buildings, 3, 4. It's the whole area here. It's probably 15, there's more, 30 buildings in this kind of style. And basically only old people living here. So people moved in 50 years ago, and most are now in their 80s, so you know what happens. But the location here is still pretty nice. You have lots of nice, largely grown trees. Behind the street there are garages where people can park their cars and other things. And behind this is basically open field, so it's really quiet here. To the center of the city it's probably 20 minutes by feet, or you can take a bus from here directly, going to the city in 5 minutes. So the location is a pretty desired space to live anymore. That's why they're redoing those apartment buildings and making basically one new apartment out of 2. So, and you will get a large terrace on roof of one of those first floor apartments, as you can see. So then when the whole thing makes sense, because before you probably had 50 square feet, which is roughly 600 square feet as space available. So in times today, that's not a desirable size anymore. Everything is cramped in, and the kitchen and the bathroom is really tiny, so it makes sense to redo them. So I'd suggest we just walk into the building and I show you how it looks now. The only bad thing is everything is removed already, so there's no kitchen anymore, there's nothing, and the doors are removed. Only left is the windows. So here you can see how it looks like, and those light brown stripes, this is the original paint from 50 years ago when they painted and constructed those buildings. The doors, they got renewed some 25 years ago because it was all wooden. The windows were wooden. Now they are plastic and aluminum frames. So you can still see a little bit inside how it looks like. Let's go in. So in here is, you see those panels. They cover basically the isolation of those buildings, because as we are in Germany, it's getting pretty cold in the winter time, and they had to put at least 3 inches of isolation to save energy. So you see, 4-story apartment building. Number 28. And I know a bunch of people who lived here when we all were kids. Let's start with this. So here is a community where people can store their belongings and stuff. It's maybe pretty dark here, there's no light anymore. That's the size of the basement, you see, which every apartment had available to their own. So people could store food here, because 50 years ago, yeah, people still used it to store their food here, conserves, whatever. Oh yes, and one thing I have to mention is 50 years ago there was no central heating, there was coal heating. So everybody had to get their own coal and make fire in the winter time to have it warm. So here's this was the form of washing, the community washing room. So here you can see where the water is leaving. There was a big cooktop where people could make fire and wash their clothes or bed sheets or whatever. But most of the time people made this as their party room. So of course you don't see anything anymore. But this was a nice size, because 50 years ago when people moved in, everybody was young, in their 30s. And everybody was happy to have an apartment, because it was not common to get a brand new apartment with nice floors, nice bathroom, nice kitchen. So here is the end of this building. Oh, it looks a little, this was a big cellar. Oh no, it's small. Well, this is a little bit tiny. Yeah, okay. Let's go up. So as I thought, everybody was happy to get a brand new apartment here. And they had a lot of parties, either in the winter time they went down into this party room, or they made barbecue parties here. I remember this. So let's see. Let's go up. Show you some spaces. So this is one of the 3 rooms we called it. So here's the little tiny bathroom. This is probably 3 meters something long and 1.50 meter wide. So it's 6 square meters. It's crazy tiny. As you can see, and the same size as the kitchen. So here were all the cabinets, as you can see. You could make your food. Then here was the sink, the stove, and of course people use gas to get hot water. Still like this, but not all buildings use still to heat up the water with gas. So, and here what you don't see anymore, here was the part of the oven. Here you have to put in your coal and make fire to heat up your apartment. As you can see here, this is part of the heat transfer. Here it goes over here, there, and then it goes to the other room to get it up in temperature. So, and this is the main room. Look at this. This is probably 6 by 3, so it's 24 square meters. This is your balcony. The view to those other apartment buildings. Look at this. Hello. So as I said, all the doors are already removed. Here you can see still the halls where they had the isolation panels on it, because it makes a huge difference not to heat up the other one's apartment with your energy. So this is the sleeping room. Sleeping room. Well, this is 3 by 4, so 12 or 15 square meters. So the whole apartment would be maybe 60 square meters, which is roughly 700 square feet. And this is the children's room. So you get an idea of the size. And some families had 2 children, so just imagine growing up with your sister or brother in this room. But back in the day it was common, so nobody complained. And still everybody had a good time. No complaints at all. Because back in the day, people had no cell phones, no internet, no computer, so everybody was doing sports activities and playing outside. Let's go up to next. Let's go to the 4th floor, if we can do it. Sometimes you hear the smoke detectors. Well, okay, here we are, 4th floor. Let's see what you can see here. Oh. So this is one of those tinier apartments. You have the same kitchen size. Here's the bathroom. Well, and then you have only 2 more rooms. So I don't know what those people do with this styrofoam isolation here. You see, this is one room. And then you have the other room, which is the sleeping room. Well, at least we get a nice view. That's how it looks like. But just imagine 50 years ago there was no big trees right now, so everything was fresh. No cars on the road, because it was not common that everybody had his own car. Back in the days there were more motorcycles and just more people just walking on the street. So right now you don't see anybody anymore, because there are only old people living here. That's how life goes. And you can see a little one of the churches in the background behind those trees. This is Mühlhausen city center. So it's by feet, 20 minutes walk. You can do it. Well, let's check out the attic. This is the attic space. Oh, that doesn't look good. Well, they removed already all the isolation. Look at this. And years ago, people stored all their belongings here, like, what is this? Holy moly. All collections, look this. You still find interesting stuff here. Here, look at this, old National Volksarmee things. It looks like an old box from the National Army. Here. Interesting. Well, what a discovery. It's sad to see that all those buildings going, but that's life. Well, we can still visit a former friend's apartment, because, as I said, I knew basically everybody living here back in the days, but they all had to move out of those apartments maybe some 3 years ago, and other people left in the 90s already. So, well, I believe, yeah, that's one of my friend's apartments here. I remember stayed many days here, and we did all kind of crazy stuff in this room. We played on the first Commodore C64, if you still remember these times. And we built airplanes in those rooms. Well, yeah, for construction, as you can see here, it's pretty massive concrete. So as I remember, those are all prefabricated concrete blocks. I believe those were tinier blocks, so they were like maybe 3 feet by 3 feet. And then some smaller ones. Not sure. As you can see, here is the steel, the reinforcement. So back in the day, it was a pretty interesting construction method to get those buildings up fast. As you can see, here still old tiles, and they put the new ones some 25 years ago over, and still did not remove the old ones. Well, here's the old buzzer. If somebody presses the button down on the door, so you can hear it. Interesting. Well, somebody had a nice colorized wall here. Well, let's get out here before the construction equipment is coming and tearing it down. Okay guys, remember, if you want to see more of those videos, let me know in the comments below, and I show you more nice interesting stuff worldwide. Now we are in Germany. Oh, we still can open the door, you see. So here it's just a reminder, please close the door after 10 o'clock p.m. Well, this was number 30. Well, please let me know how you like those videos. And if you want to see more, maybe from the historic old towns in East Germany, former called German Democratic Republic. Those buildings are very common and still to find over there, but they're getting less and less and getting remodeled. So now it's the time to cover them and just get a piece of history in the video. I hope you liked the video, and thumbs up if you want to see more, if you like what you see, and see you in the next video.